Just continuing the install on the kitchen. So just the finishing touches. We did yesterday most of the spacers, fillers, side panels. Now I'm starting with the crown, and then we're gonna start putting on the doors. So just like everything else, it takes a little bit longer than anticipated. Put up. Look at that. Just look at that. Whoo, just as intended. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. But I like to do first the fillers to the wall. Then I want to do the side panel. Then I do the crown. And I finish with the toe kick. The toe kick is the one that doesn't depend on anything. So you could start even with the toe kick if you want to. But ideally, you don't do the crown before you have all your side panels on. And since scribing to the wall, where you have the spacers, is the most difficult thing, I like to start with the most difficult thing. Because as the time goes by and it looks like nothing is happening, at least I've done the hard part. So then when I finish with the toe kick is the easiest one to put in. Makes the day go by faster. It's not visible, the top. It's not always the easiest, because if it's a flush toe kick, then you need to cope it to the floor, because you will see the top of the toe kick and the bottom of the toe kick. In this kitchen here, all the toe kick is recessed actually. So it's 3 inches inwards. Therefore, what you'll see, it's only the bottom of the toe kick, not the top. So you can cut it slightly smaller, it's just gonna go in, and even if there's a tiny gap at the top, it's impossible to see because it's 4 inches off the floor, 3 inches inset. So that's why it's easier. It's just straight cuts. But with coping crown or spacers, you have to make sure that the cuts are true to the whatever unevenness of the wall, ceiling. So that's what's up. Because this is the finished, right? Panels, the ones that we stained and clear coated. How close they are in color to the interior. And grain matches, and most likely if you, once everything is installed, you will open up the doors and it's going to look like it's made with the same finish in and out. But it's not. The interior is the super durable one. The exterior is the super fancy one. But durable as well. But more fancy, but durable. Again, tricks with the scribing. Because the ceiling is not perfect. But using our tricks, we make it look like it is. Quarters. See, we have a difference of 3/16 of an inch from one side to the other in this span. But you're gonna shoot them only, so you're gonna put it right flush with the edge of the cabinet. You shoot here and here, because anyway you're gonna cut. Yeah. So don't shoot in the front. And only one and one. That's it. You don't need more. One scribe piece. There you go. You see, I put the clamp with a piece of wood right under the top of the cabinet, meaning that the piece that's going to be sitting here is actually by the thickness of the top of the cabinet taller than it should be, so that I can use my 3/4 of an inch strip to scribe exactly to the ceiling. So yeah, I need something to hold it lined up with the bottom of the top of the cabinet. And I'm using extra strips, like leftovers, and I'm securing them to the cabinet with clamps. So, extra sets of hands. Perfect. Yeah, so this is perfect. You can, if you can push it, but it's perfect the way it meets the wall, not chipped. Yeah, come on. That's it. Yeah. So you do one nail, and then you're gonna put the screw in the same position, and then you come here and push it inwards a bit, and let's see. Let me do this. That's it. And let's see. There you go. So now same thing for the top. You're gonna have to do, but the top careful because it covers the under panel. So you see how here you have them both the same? Make sure that at the bottom you have the painted part. And it's gonna, the strip in the front. So let's say it goes like this, right? Yeah. Like this. It's gonna stick out by 3/4 of an inch. So that this can cover the under panel just like it's in the kitchen. So careful cutting only from the top. Yes, and making sure that the strip is 3/4 of an inch longer. Like, if anything, I'm taking less now than I used to take at the beginning. Because at the beginning, I would have everything with me. But now I know there's certain stuff that I will not do on site. So I'm not going to take routers or, I don't know, intricate saws with track saws, or because those I will do them at the shop. If it gets to the point where I have to do super intricate stuff on site, I would rather do it in the shop. So I'm not taking long clamps anymore with me. So again, if anything, I have fine-tuned what I'm taking with me. But I am always taking way more than I need. So we came to like a conclusion or a list of stuff that might be necessary on installation, and we stick to that list. It doesn't matter if you go and you just put handles, you take all the tools for the installation with you, because you have there everything that you might need to adjust something or to cut something or to touch up something. Like, yeah, right now we're not at touch-up phase, so in theory I shouldn't have the touch-up kit with me. But yeah, I cut something and it chips while I install it, I'm gonna touch it up now, not leaving it for the end. So yeah, that's a very long way of answering your question. No, the list or the stuff didn't get smaller. It got more precise, but if anything, I'm taking less than I used to take at the beginning. I know that if anything were to go extremely wrong on site, I have a shop that did everything from scratch. So I can address them there, in-house, all the time.